Mabrika, Mabrika, Mabrika. And here I am again. I have my candle going on. I got my smoky quartz, and I got some other crystals around the room. And I'm just setting in my environment, my mood, my vibration, good vibration. Anyway, I wanted to Um, first of all, I'm making this part one because it's going to be a couple of parts because we're ready to speak about the heart energy center, which is I would say, the most important energy center in our etheric bodies. Okay, even the heart in your organic body plays a very important part because remember it's dumping, it's distributing blood throughout all your systems and everything. But we're talking about the etheric body. We got to make that distinguish between the etheric body, which is your energy body, an energy force field. When you go into Kalian photography, and then you see that you have this glow, this energy around you. So that's what we're referring to when we speak about these energy center, which the Hindus call the chakras, the wheels. And remember, there are many, many, many more centers, energy points. That's where you get acupuncture, and when they to tap onto that, and the etheric, you get psychic that goes into etheric and know where to pinpoint certain energy center in your etheric body. But it's been now conventionally there is nine. Actually, in the Hindus, seven, but then there is nine energy center that are like the main energy center, the main hub of distribution of this energy. Just to quickly recap, we talk about the earth energy, which was your ancestral patterns and the genetic blueprints, how important that is. And that is superimposed by the skin. Your skin is an organ. And remember, just mere fact, when you walk in the room, you start touching things, you are leaving genetic materials behind. That's how serious it is. And that's when you get into forensic science and they're able to extract this DNA material and know what time you was in the room to the point of what time and who were in the room, depending on the genetic material that they're able to extract from that particular room. It's a science. Sometimes it's not favorable. It's not all that precise, but they're getting more and more and more into the science of that, of extracting that genetic material. Then we got the root. The root energy center, again, that's the root that deals with your food, money, and shelter. But when I say food, your sustenance, your money is your currency, and your shelter is your environment. You know what I'm saying? Your territory, your environment. And so we spoke on that, and that's self-explanatory, okay? Then we went up to the sacral, where it's the center where your sex and pleasure, your sense of amusement, music, amusement park. Um, I forgot that word, but it deals with musing. You know what I'm saying? And also sex. So we talk about Kama Sutra and the cultural expression that the Hindus and also the cultural expression that are in the tablets of Kemet and that they're hiding. And also there is in the Mayan, there's codex from the Mayan civilization. You know what I'm saying? That speaks about the culture and the cultivating of the sexual nature. You know what I'm saying? And we spoke about how important that is in society today. All these energy are very important, and it plays a part in your environment. Okay. Um, then we went up to the solar plexus. The solar plexus, where your will and testament, your identity, your personal power, your idea and your conviction of self. That's where that's center at. And remember, we spoke about martial arts, how it teaches you how to balance that and how to use it. Also, yoga, Tai Chi. I'm very invested in Tai Chi. I just did Tai Chi earlier today, and how that helps with your identity. That helps with your personal power. The breathing. It helps with a lot. That's another one of the most important energy center because it's close to the important one, and that is the heart energy center. Now, some physicists and some psychologists say that the heart is the psychic barrier between your thinking mind and your instinctive mind. That means your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. That is the barrier. But I don't quite look at it as a barrier. I look at it as an access. The access, that energy center is the access of your ethereal body because remember, I said with three, but it's actually four energy center, and then you have in the middle here, you have the earth, the heart energy center, and then you got four on top. Well, this also can be turned around like this. That means your earth energy center is directly can link up with your star energy center. Your your root center links up with your crown center. Your sacral center links up with your pineal center. And you have your solar plexus link up with your throat. And in the middle of that, right in the middle, is the axis. It's the point that tips, and that is the heart energy center. And how important is that? That is the axis. That's what actually lights up. When you get everything in balance, lights up here, and then it goes out and around and around and around. It's a pulsating experience. You're pulsating now, okay? And we'll speak on further on that when we get to that point. But anyway, what I wanted to say about the heart energy center is that it's where caring, compassion, and kindness is empowered. Right in that heart center, the kindness, your compassion, and your caring. And how important is that to each one of those centers? Because you got to have compassion, caring for each one of those centers to be responsible. This is responsibility. When you're responsible, you caring for something. You having compassion for something, and you are kindly exhibiting a sense of involvement with it. You know what I'm saying? Um, Health and healing is also very important to this here because it helps with your health in all of your centers. Also, the healing starts from the empowerment of this unconditional caring. And remember, we said that the unconditional caring is the power that the human race has. That power over, they even say that that's a dominion that was giving man over, let's say, the animal, because he's now, and the plants and everything, because he's now could exhibit this unconditional caring for animals and plants. You see, a plant can actually care in the sense that we care for animals, unless that it just freely gives of itself so the animal could partake of it if it's a herb or herb eating animal. You know what I'm saying? But then the animals too doesn't care like we care for plants. You know what I'm saying? So say for some insects, nature do have variations, but the power that we have is that we're able, with unconditional caring, reach out to the animal planet, to the animal. We're able to reach out to the plant and the tree, the forest, the vegetation. We're able to reach out and care for many of these natural extremities from Earth. Okay, I don't know how else to say it, but anyway, that's the power that we have. That we can care for humanity, care for plant, care for animal, care for everything, even viruses and bacteria. We're able to, when you got this intact, and when you have this balance, that sense of kindness, that sense of opening up to the empowerment of compassion and caring, is phenomenal. It's clear cut. This is the power that we can harness. And this power that we harness, also we have to apply to these energy centers. And once we apply to these energy center, that also expands. When we're in the fifth dimension, we expand it to others of like mind and other and to humanity. Because that's living in the fifth dimension. Remember dimension, the measurement of something? Well, expansion and contraction can be measured. That could be measured. The expansion of a thing and the contraction of something could be measured. And that's the fifth dimension where you expand your caring out and reaches beyond your immediate environment. You know what I'm saying? And this is what it's about. When you're balanced, you're able to feel the caring for yourself and others. When this energy center is balanced, that it's balanced in the sense of your logical mind is balanced with your instinctive mind, your conscious balanced with your subconscious, then you're able to care for yourself and care for others. Now, it can be overactive. When it's too active, then we lose our personal boundaries and we start to make unhealthy choices. Get that? It's overactive, so we start making unhealthy choices. We lose our personal boundaries. You have to have personal boundaries set for yourself, and you have to make healthy choices. Very, very important. And the symptoms of that could be a fast heartbeat, palpitation, heartburn, or interpersonal relationship issues. You're not able to connect with people. You have interpersonal relationship issues when it's overactive and not balanced. You know what I'm saying? Um, when it's underactive, it's really hard for anyone to really get close to you anymore. You don't allow too many people to get close to you. That's when it's under. You're not confident in your sense of compassion, so it's underactive. Now, ways that you can deal with balancing when you find yourself unbalanced is take a relaxing bath. Put some Epsom salt in it, Epsom salt in it. Light up some candles, lay back in that bath, scent it with a nice scent of lavender or whatever scent you like, rose, and just sit back. And also, it helps with your sacral, your sex and pleasure, because you can get your mate to also come in there, give you a sponge bath and massage you, give you a sponge bath. Let's help each other balance this energy center, which is the heart energy center. So, this is ways that it can be done. Treat yourself to the massage or have your mate a sponge bath. Sponge bath you. Become a baby again and let somebody sponge bathe you. And that Epsom salt and that lavender, the nice scent, the candles, and then the person steps away and let you have your moment of peace. Find your inner peace in that bath after they have massaged you, you know what I'm saying, and gave you that sponge bath. And then you meditate. You meditate on sending compassion to yourself and for others. You meditate on that compassion, on what it is to feel that joy, that sense of joyness. You know what I'm saying? You have to also your blessings. You have to well, I'll go back. I'll go back. I don't want to give you too much. Remember, I'm going to do this in certain parts, but this is part one, so I guess. So we got the meditation. Now, one thing that can also block this energy center is grief. And when you look up the word grievance, it's a keen mental suffering. It's distress over affliction of loss. Is a sharp sorrow, a painful regret. That means you shouldn't live your life in regrets. You got to face your grievances, even lost in family. You know, that's a some culture when it comes to funeral processions, they enjoy, they throw a celebration. They call it a sense of celebration. The person is released from the boundaries of this earth. They released, you know what I'm saying? And it's a celebration. You have to face your grief, your grievances. That has to be faced. Um, you know, because it creates that suffering and affects some of the organs in your body. You know, that sharp sorrow or that regrets. Oh man, if I would have, forget about that. You're not your past. And the only way to fix your past is by fixing the now, so that the future, when you look back into the future, then you see that your past, it was just a school that you had to go through, an experience that taught you even better. Simple as that. Don't live in regrets. Don't grieve over things. Like they said, don't grieve over spilled milk. It's just spilled milk. But that's really harsh. I shouldn't even have said that. But I mean, grief can block that center very much. So you have to be careful. Just think of joyful things. If it's a lost one, just think of the joy you have with that person. And that person, if it's a close family member, then their genetics is in you. Joy, they want you to have a joyful life. They don't want you to be in sorrow and grief. They don't want you to have regrets. Don't have regrets. What's done in the past is done in the past. Keep going forward. Because that can create a blockage. Blockage. Show appreciation for yourself and give yourself the caring that you want others to give you. You know what I'm saying? Like they said, do unto others like you want them to do to you. Do to yourself what you want others to do to you. Treat yourself right. If you don't treat yourself good and right and have all this pity and sorrow and grievance and blockage, no one is going to pay you any mind. No one is going to respect you. They're not. That's how the heart center operates. You know what I'm saying? So compassion, and it's a water energy center is represented by water, and the instrument that helps in activating this center and that is more in tune with this nature would be the violin, the saxophone, great, the accordion. That's what you listen to French, the accordion and the music of love, the violin. You know, just picture yourself going down the in Venice in one of those canoes. You're sitting with your loved one and you're having a picnic in that boat and that canoe, and there's a violinist right there playing a very joyful music. You know the settings that it can do for you. You know, and the harp and the piano. You know, there are certain chords on the piano that strikes, and when you strike those chords, like the C major chord, it is a love chord. A lot of music was written on that. Love music was written on the C major chord. You know, and that's very important. Um, in the emerald tablets, the heart center will be representative of the word of power will be Goyana. Goyana. Goyana is the word of power for that particular center. It's called Goyana. Let me now in terms of the vibes, the key for this heart center is the key of F sharp, and the frequency is 182.25 hertz or 364.50 hertz or 729 hertz, you know. And the sound that you're going to make is a glottal A, like in saw, ah, awards. There's an A. Remember, you got two A's. You got an ah and you got an ah. The glottal ah sound, and that saw, that's connected to your that energy center, that vowel. And if I go ahead and I play give me 1 second. Let me look at 182. I will do 181.9. Ooh, so oh, Breathe. Oh. This is a way of meditating, and you use that glotal sound, and you use that frequency of 182, right, point 25, and you sit down with your hands like this, and you, oh, that's just meditating, and you're meditating on that frequency, which is the heart frequency, okay? And that's just where your compassion and enjoy, joy, joyfulness, satisfaction. I sometimes I like to drink a little wine, not to get drunk, but to be merry and cheerful. You know what I'm saying? That helps. Also, I listen to comedy and I start laughing, joyful. The way it makes my day with these comedians, because what I enjoy about comedians is that they can take something dramatical and they can shift it and make it so comical that you're actually laughing at something that's dramatical, but you learning how to deal with this heart energy center and learning how to transform. Let me look at something here. And if I'm right, then this heart, oh, it's abundance. Abundance. There's a sense when you have this compassion and this unconditional caring, it brings abundance. If you're one who wants to attract abundance, attraction, then this is the center to really look into. And your compassion, your kindness, people will get out the way. People will do things for you because they see it's a kind-hearted person. This person is a balance, has a balanced heart. You know, I don't want to make this too long. I already been here like 22 minutes. That's not bad, but I really don't want to be here too long because when I want to go in on the next podcast, it's going to be how this. Well, let me give it here. What the hell? No, you know what? I'm going to save it because I want it in the beginning because I don't know. People might have a short attention span. They might not even listen to this whole podcast because it's about an hour. But there's a lot of stuff in there you can grab, man. And I'm hoping, not hoping, but I know it's going to be beneficial because it's beneficial in my life. You know what I'm saying? As a humanity, and humanity really have to know its power of unconditional caring. Know this power and mm, knowing how to harness it and knowing how to use it also as a currency. Yeah, you can use it as a currency. In other words, if I have this compassion for my instrument, so I study, I create a habit, so I create a paradigm of myself, right? With my instrument, a paradigm, I can convert that into currency. You know, you can get paid for your musical talent. Talent is a word which means a salt, a talent of salt. When measuring currency was by salt, and that's where talent comes from. You become the salt of the earth. You become a salty. You know what I'm saying? Savor. You know, when you invested with the unconditional caring into these particular energy center, or invest into certain industries that you may have, into art, into finance, whatever. You put your compassion in it. That's what I'm saying. It's one of the most important energy center because it's balanced, and once you're able to harness its power and able to direct it through attention by utilizing the solar plexus and all the other energies, and once you learn how to harness that, it's a light, a beacon of light, like this light right here. Oh, right here, a beacon of light. You know what I'm saying? So that's how important is this energy center. And where's your compassion, your caring, your compassion, and your kindness is empowered. It's empowered. Remember, and you got to get rid of that grief. You got to put that in check. You got to face that grief. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the field. Well, we'll go over that some other time when we go into it, because this conversation is not going to end by me just getting up to the star energy center and then not connecting it all together and then exploring more and more, because it goes really deep, 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 deep. I was told that it has many dimensions, and it's true. It has many, many density levels that this conversation can go into. Right now, we're scratching the surface. And what are we doing? We are acknowledging, recognizing, and acknowledging these particular energy center and how it affects our immediate environment. So your sense of compassion, your sense of kindness affect your environment. It affects the environment. It affects wherever you walk. You go out there. You know, just like your earth energy center affects your environment. Your root, your sacral, your solar plexus, all of this affect your immediate environment. And that's the purpose of us having this conversation, so that we can look at our environment and better ourselves, humanity. And pretty soon, what I want to do is do these podcasts in Spanish, and I hope that it goes all over Puerto Rico, all Santo Domingo, all Cuba, wherever there's Spanish and Hispanics at, because they're part of it also. They carry the genetics of the ancient ones also. So we have to learn, we have to grow together, and we got to change. Remember, the paradigm, which is the bottom half, is ruled by habits, habitual rituals, or habits. Habits create paradigms. So sometimes these habits or these paradigms that you might be born into by genetics or by your environment, your outer world, affecting your paradigm, affecting the habits that you create. That's your instinctive mind generating there, your subconscious mind. That has to be balanced with your thinking mind, which is where your ideas come from, or your thinking, your logical thinking. Logic. If your logic is not aligned with your habits, it creates an unfavorable condition. And in the middle of that is, it can create a barrier, yes, a psychic barrier. But when we deal with the psychic barrier, we deal with the heart energy center. We want to release this barrier. We want to free it. And one of the techniques is facing your grief, facing those losses and stuff like that. And then you start aligning your top energy center, which we haven't gotten into yet, but your lower ones with that top one. You start aligning your life, your genetic blueprint, your ancestral pattern starts aligning with your sexual practice, with your finance, with your environment, and with your food, the intake of the food. You know what I'm saying? All this starts applying to each other and stacking up, and start balancing it, you know? And there's no space out shit. There's no kumbaya moment either. You know what I'm saying? No kumbaya. This is reality. And there's no space out stuff that you're going to convert into a ball of light and woo, and you're out of here. Astral projection, you might experience some of that, because I've learned from the past that when you reach a level when you're balancing and you reach that enlightenment level, that yeah, you tend to astral project more. You get to have these dreams where you actually involve in these dreams, and it appears to be real, a separate reality. You know, by projecting into another form of existence. So hopefully this would do that for you. You know what I'm saying? And not to space out. It's a human experience. This is written on the walls, and many cultural ancient culture had already had inscribed, had recorded some of the experience that they were having with this astral projection. It's a real thing. It's seeing the bounds, you know, it's and we're gonna go over that about illusion, getting rid of the illusion and seeing the multiverse, and looking from that perspective, that particular lens, a lens from the multiversity lens, and then looking down. You're able to do that. You're able to do that. You're able to gain that type of enlightenment, and all for the benefit of all humanity. Very important. For the benefit of all humanity. Reason why you want to get invested in learning how to balance your life, your energy center all around you, and how it affects your environment is so that it can also impact your environment and humanity. And you share with humanity. And you get to see who's for real and who's not, who is for humanity, who's selling us out, who's selling us out. You know what I'm saying? Let's move into that let's shift that paradigm. And the only way we can shift that paradigm is by creating the healthy habits. And then logically directing those that paradigm for the beneficial of all humanity. And that's what it's about for me, you know. So I want to end it here. This is part one. Part two, we want to explore more about the heart, you know what I'm saying? And then I don't know. It might just end at part two and then we'll just go up to the throat, the throat energy center, which is in linked with the solar plexus. And we will discuss that how is it linked up and that particular perspective, you know, and analogy. Anyway, I wish you all very well. I care for all humanity, man, because I feel that we have a good gift. I mean, we're being bombarded by this. There is a disruptor out there, and it's called covert id-19. It's trying to disrupt us. You know what I'm saying? You got scientists out there who is invested in activating certain bacteria and viruses and directing it into a certain place. I always ask this question: when you see a lot of these journals and scientific journals and stuff about COVID-19 and bacteria and stuff, you got to ask yourself, how are they attaining this particular data? Because in order for you to attain this particular data that they're spilling out, that means you had to isolate that virus and put it in a lab and do the protocol, like the gains of function and seeing how this virus reacts. That way you can have an analysis, a journal, a data on this particular virus. That means you, in one way, you had to take it out of its natural habitat and put it in the lab. It only makes sense because you cannot analyze a virus in its original habitat because it's going to be hidden. It's got to be done through what they call the infrared microscope. It's got to be done in the lab. So all this information that's coming out about this virus is coming from the lab. Something's going on. It's coming from the lab. It's not nobody observing the virus in its natural habitat. No one sat down and looked at a bunch of bats and see how these bats and these animals are related to these viruses and how they got sick. No one's doing that. What are they doing? Is they taking that into a lab and then they doing the science, they extracting the data from the actual, it's either experiment or actual protocol and rules and regulation protocol. The rite of passage when it comes to scientific methodology. So they're applying scientific methodology, protocols, gains of function, you name it. They're applying all the stuff in a lab. So that means, do they have virus in the lab? Anyway, let me cut it here and I will talk to you later. Peace. Papito, what's up?